Hi, I'm Joy from The Delicious Revolution, and I am here with a very long overdue update on how our budget challenge has been going. If you've been following along, my challenge was to feed a healthy menu plan to my beautiful family of 4. Now I have been putting off doing an update because I failed miserably, but I have learned a ton and I am ready to revise and keep at it. So let me tell you the first challenges that I had, and let me give you the stats on what really worked out. So my goal was $150 a week. My actual was $209 and change each week. Now that's an average if I divided out all 4 weeks over the last month, but that was my average, about $209 and change. Now that might sound like I was a hefty percentage up and over, but when I look back and I did the math, I found that $150 really worked out to $1.78 per meal per person per day. And I think for the way that we're eating and for how much we're entertaining, that really just wasn't realistic for us. What the actual turned out to, if you do $209 and you do the math on that, that turns out to $2.49 a meal, and I think that's a little more realistic for us. Now, there are a few things that completely threw our budget off. One we've talked about before, which is my husband and my passion for entertaining our friends. And as I said earlier, we're definitely not going to give that up. So we will be tweaking our budget and making some revisions to accommodate for that. The other thing that I found really threw us off is that, you know, our family just loves being really spontaneous, and as a passionate cook, it's hard for me to force myself into a very specific menu plan. And so when I was in such a rush to like control the budget and make everything work, I would try to plan the meals based on using the produce earlier in the week that I knew would spoil faster. And that's great and everything, but like I said, as a passionate chef, it's hard to be, you know, sort of forced into what to make each and every night. So I found that a little bit restricting, and I also found that some nights we just weren't in the mood for that. So, and a lot of that, you know, was based on not just our simple taste, because we realized, you know, we don't want to waste the money and we're not going to just be so finicky about what we eat, but a lot of it is based on the weather. You know, usually it's still warm in San Diego this time of year, but we've had some unusually chilly weather. So, you know, some nights that we had planned on a salad, it just didn't sound good because we were all cold and wanted to cuddle up around something really warm. So the spontaneity, we were missing that. Entertaining, that was definitely throwing us off, and also just wanting to get out together and do something that threw us off a little bit too. So I would label that eating out. So I'd say those were definitely our 3 hurdles. So I've got some ideas how to retweak this and try again, because I do think that it's been amazing to be mindful of our spending, and that's helped me, and of course it helps keep my husband sane because he pays the bills around our house and he's actually the bigger breadwinner around here. So it did take some financial stress out of him, and it makes him feel good to know that I'm being mindful of that too. So I loved the process, but I didn't like feeling like, God, you know, if people are coming over, you know, I'd be thinking about, oh God, I'm just going to be so off. This is ridiculous. So retweaking it now with a little more freedom, with those things in mind, is actually kind of inspiring. And I think that if I do this right, instead of feeling controlled by the budget, I could actually feel liberated by it. So let me tell you the changes that I'm going to make to try and reach that very happy ending. Here's what I'm going to do. One, I'm going to increase our budget to $225. Now, my average was $209, so you might be wondering, well, why are you going up and over that? What I didn't admit in my failure is that every once in a while, my husband would just be like, oh, forget it, let's just go out and have a pizza. The kids have been a handful today, and work was crazy, and we just need to get out of here and go have some fun. And whenever he did that, he didn't always hand over the receipts and say, honey, let's put this in our budget and scrap that whole thing and figure it in. He didn't do all that. So there were plenty of times where he treated us to dinner, and I don't even know what the actual numbers came out to. So that $209 a week that I came up with is probably, it's definitely not 100% accurate. So what I'd like to do is increase it to $225 and then invite Travis, that's my teenage daughter, who sometimes goes out for lunch at school with her friends or may go out on the weekends with her friends, and invite Travis, who takes us out to dinner, or may again go out with his friends, go out with the guys and have some fun, and invite them to just post what they spend on our little family Google document. Again, you can go on the site and get that Google document so you can use it too. and have everybody post on there what they've been spending. And instead of trying to spend the right amount of money and then divvy that out into meals, we're actually just gonna post it up there and reverse it and do a countdown. So instead of adding up what we need to make, we're gonna count down to what we have left over. And so if we decide to go out to pizza, hey, great, then we just throw on what we spent and we deduct that and we show what's left. And I'm hoping what that will do is, hey, you know, at the end of the week, if we're getting low and we're scrounging through and having, you know, some crazy canned beans or something wacky, then we'll definitely all be in the same boat, and we'll all get aligned to save money and not have that happen at the end of the week next week. That's at least my goal. I don't know if that'll happen, but that's what I'm hoping for. And then the other thing is to give up being such a control freak in another way. So one control freak lessoning will be asking them to share the posting of any money that we spend on groceries, and another will be asking them to cook, because I think that one way to get people attached to the idea of healthy eating is if they do it themselves, because if they make it, even if it's not the most fabulous dish, they're going to be committed to serving it and enjoying it with everybody, and also I get a meal off cooking, which is great, because there's certainly no need for me to take all that on. My husband is talented at cooking, my daughter is amazing at it, so I might as well divvy the load and have some fun there too. And also then they'll be mindful of the ingredients that are there in the refrigerator, because they know other people have to make meals during the week. So those are the things that I'm going to do. The other thing that I'm going to do is shop a little more often. We live in Pacific Beach, which is a great community for walking. So when I walk my little boy to the park, I can just pick up the fresh greens for that night instead of risking any greens getting wasted. Now, we can take greens that are maybe on the verge of going and we can juice them, but why not just add them in? One little stop on our walk is no problem, and it can help us save money, it's more exercise, and I get to pick what's fresh and delicious for that day. So it could be a little more inspiring for me as a passionate chef. So those are the changes that I'm going to make. I will switch the money on the budget sheet, and if you have any revisions to suggest, please do so. If you have any money saving tips to share with us, please post those in the comment section below, and I will keep you posted and let us know and let you know how our revised budget plan goes. This is Joy from The Delicious Revolution, and I'll see you again soon.